What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another F1 24 My Team Career Mode video. Today, round 23 around Qatar. It's a sprint weekend and you know it's going to get very busy indeed. So we're going to kickstart straight away with some sprint qualifying. I have done laps before these in qualifying, so whenever you see the delta in the top right, you know I've done a lap previous to this, but in the interest of not taking up your entire day to watch a sprint race video, I'm just showing you the final laps in each qualifying run, in each qualifying session. And so far this lap is coming along great. We've somehow destroyed the 50-meter board at that previous braking zone. Probably was trying to maximize the track a little bit too much. Purple sector 1, we're doing pretty good on this lap. And yeah, SQ1, we're currently P14, 3/10 up, 2/10 up. Are we going to gain any on this exit? Not really. We must have really nailed that last time. We are on the medium, so it's not quite as grippy as we would necessarily want it to be. But we've obviously been getting used to this track as the weekend has been unfolding here. We're now half a second up as we go into sector 3. The very fast, essentially triple apex here. And even in 8th gear, the car just losing a bit of power almost as you get through that corner. I think I need to take those in 7th and then in 6th for that previous one. Drop it down to 5th gear, hit the apex, line up the car, straighten it up and just gun it to the line, open the DRS. 6/10 up on that lap. Obviously we make it through to SQ2 with that kind of improvement, and I think this is our one and only lap in SQ2. Looking at this, braking just after the 50-meter board, tip it in down to 4th gear, open up the steering wheel and put the power down, immediately switch. You've really got to mount the curbs here to really make up all of the time, but don't go too far wide, otherwise you will invalidate your lap. Again, it's all about trying to maximize the tracks. We almost go wide there in that fast right-hander of sector 1. Go a little bit deep at the sort of first hairpin that just comes right after the end of sector 1, and now again deep, trying to carry a bit too much speed, I think, trying to really maximize every inch of this track. We've got the downforce bolted on the car for this weekend. I think our wings are 40 and 30, something like that, just to try and help us in the straight. We've got the skinny rear wing, but to help us in the corners, obviously it's not that skinny. And Carlos Sainz heading to the top of the time board. Max Verstappen with a 1:22.490 to take the fastest lap away from the Ferrari. We're going to tip it into the last corner again now, just really trying to get as close as you can to track limits. And running the short run up to the line, looks like we hit something like a 22.8, which did keep us in the running and obviously got us into SQ3. Again, burn the battery to about 50% down here. We're on hot lap, so it's not really going to regenerate too much, although apparently it is. And we're just going to try and do whatever we can. Obviously SQ3 now we get the soft tyre. So this is a tyre that I was, practicing on. I do tend to try and go into time trial to get a feeling of the track, practice a little bit with the setup. And yeah, obviously it's very different once you get into an upgraded My Team car, because you've got more downforce, you've got better weight distribution, you've got all of those upgrades that we've been bringing on through the season that you don't have in time trial, so it does feel a little bit different. And yeah, really trying to maximize everything. A pretty good exit there out of that sort of slower corner into sector 2. We say slower, still taking it in 5th gear, so it's a really, really high speed track this, and you just got to hit every turn in, every traction zone in order to make up the time. There's a lot of braking zones that start at 50 meters, but we're coming to the end of the final lap in SQ3. Where are we going to be for the sprint? P7. P7. Not the best, equally not the worst, but here we are. You can see sort of a bit overcast almost in the skies there. Very, very bright, very blinding. But we'll see now. We know we're P7, but where is everybody else? Starting on pole for the sprint race, Fernando Alonso, followed closely by Max Verstappen. Not sure why we can't see the times below their names, but there they are on the front row. Max Verstappen, followed by his teammate Perez, then Leclerc and Sainz. Norris, and then ourselves in P7. Stroll, followed by Russell and Piastri to round out the top 10. Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton. Interesting to see the Mercedes down there, but he's followed quickly by Ocon, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Albon and Bottas. Magnussen and Pourchaire rounding out P19 and P20. And then you've got Zhou and our teammate Logan Sargent. Bit interesting to see ourselves in the top 10 and Logan Sargent down in 22nd. But here we go. All the lights are on. Now they're out as we go racing for the sprint race. We've all got the mediums because obviously there's no pit stops in the sprint. We've got a busy part of the grid here. It's not ideal, but we're going to swoop around the outside and see what we can pick up on the exit. We do actually draw side by side with the McLaren of Lando Norris, as now we're going to squeeze him on exit and try and secure ourselves into P6. So we managed to gain a position off that start, which is absolutely ideal. But based on qualifying, I'm not convinced we really have the pace. Potentially just not being aggressive enough with the wheel and, you know, turning the wheel as much as we necessarily should do. As, yeah, there's not a lot happening in these first opening laps. We're on lap 4 now, and we're still just sort of holding on to the back of the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. We've got Russell for company, just to make sure we don't drop too far back. Russell is there nipping at our ankles, just desperately trying to push us to make some moves here in the sprint race as we go a little bit deep, and that's going to put us under pressure when Russell opens the DRS. We don't have as much slipstream as we would like. We're almost a second behind Sainz, and Russell is using the slipstream. He's looking to the outside. We're just going to cut that idea off before we get to the braking zone, and that it's a nice little bit of defending there, using the battery, and yeah, just trying to block off Russell in the best way possible. I just don't think he was necessarily brave enough to dive bomb it down the inside because it is such a short braking zone. He just knows he can't do too much there. So we're really starting to struggle and get all out of shape. We haven't found our rhythm here, and we're on lap 6 of 7 laps. We're maybe starting to get used to it, but we lock up a little bit and go a bit deep into the final corner. We do still have the DRS on the Ferrari up ahead, but Russell is only 3/10 behind us. Now where is this going to throw us? I think I saw a little glimpse of our tyre wear as we were flipping through the MFD in the bottom right. Our front left does not look good as we almost lose the back end, which is a horrible mistake to make on the final lap of the Grand Prix. I don't know if it's going to matter because, again, there's not many heavy braking zones here around this circuit. And we go massively deep again. We're just trying to keep the car on the track, trying to see what we can get out of this race. Are we going to get a run on Carlos Sainz towards the finishing line, towards the checkered flag? No, we're not. We stay in P6.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Now, not the best result, still P6, which is a decent amount of points. And we beat George Russell, crucially, in our rivalry. But is that enough? No, we want to do more, and thankfully we have another chance. And you guys have another chance to hit that subscribe button down below. It's very small today, but it's just down there for you. And obviously, straight after the sprint, we go into the official qualifying for the main Grand Prix. We've got more practice now. We have our soft tyres. You can see, even just from the out lap, we've got 3% wear on the softs, which is not what you want to see, but overall, decent start to our lap here. 10th or so up after the first corner, just carrying a bit more speed. Again, we've been getting more and more used to the track, and used to the track limits, used to the tyres, used to driving, because every week is basically a brand new week. And as much as I would love to play this game every waking moment, I don't. I play other games, which is kind of bad, but also kind of good because it gives me some fresh fresh eyes, fresh hands, fresh legs to work this car. And look at the work we've been doing. 6/10 up on our previous lap here as we now purple sector 2. And again, as you noticed maybe from the sprint qualifying, we were struggling taking this in 8th gear, so we've been dropping it down to 7th and in turn dropping it down to 6th just to give us that extra power on exit. And look at the dividends it's paying. 9.5 tenths, 1 second up on our previous time. We're in P12 now, but if this is not pole, I don't know what is. Obviously, whatever it was, we're safely through to Q2. Again, our one run here in Q2. I think this is where, I believe, on used tyres, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge for us to make it through. But can we make it work as we get a little bit of a snap of oversteer there on exit? Pierre Gasly with a 23.6, clearly one of the first to go for qualifying runs. Lando Norris, a bit more respectable, 23.1. And yeah, Fernando Alonso on pole for the sprint. A very interesting turn of events there for the Aston Martin as we go purple sector 1. Again, I think it's all about the use of the battery. Sergio Perez, 23.0. Fernando Alonso, 22.7. So he's clearly got the pace over Checo around this circuit. And yeah, now you can just see actually we're getting so much better using the wheel, really forcing the tyres around the corner instead of just sort of being a bit slower and turning the wheel less. And by the way, if you look at the steering wheel and you think my hands aren't there, I can promise you they are there. It's just a very dark cockpit right now. I noticed it when I was driving, that it almost seemed like my hands weren't there. But they're there. Don't worry about that. They are there. As we cross the line, P3 in the end on used tyres, which we're going to skip through some time, try and save some softs for the race, because I do feel if there's a safety car, we can use that to our advantage. And we're just going to sit here. We've got 30 seconds left to go. We're watching it from the garage, and you can see everybody is in Sector 3 now. So we are going to start to see where we're going to end up here in Q2. I'm hoping it's enough. People are starting to cross the line. We're dropping P8, P9, P10. Are we going to get through? No, we're not. No, we're not. It was P11 at the end, I think. But obviously, we've got to do our crofty part here. So let me tell you a little bit about this fantastic QATAR circuit. Look at the light there. Just very close to the circuit. You can see it in the distance there. But our first Grand Prix here was actually back in 2021. And Lewis Hamilton got pole position and the win that time out. Now 16 turns. It's a little bit of an elevation change, and the track can get a little bit bumpy down the pitch straight, but it's going to be very exciting nonetheless. Hard to overtake, but with some DRS down the start-finish straight, we should be good. Fernando Alonso takes the pole position again, followed closely by Max Verstappen, less than a tenth in qualifying separating them. Charles Leclerc in third, followed by Russell and his teammate Hamilton in P5. Norris, Sainz and Perez following them. Then Stroll and ourselves in P10, which leads me to believe there's a penalty, but it's not Ocon, Tsunoda, Gasly or Ricciardo with the penalty. It's not Albon or Pourchaire either. Hulkenberg and Magnussen all Haas on the 17th and 18th, and Piastri with a penalty, followed by Zhou, our teammate who's not in last, and Bottas who has a penalty that put him in last. So Logan Sargent must be a little bit, lackluster in the way of wooden spoons. He needs some more, so he's really trying to get another wooden spoon this time out. Now I'm going to put a 0.7 of a lap of fuel extra in the car, and in a lot of the races we actually have pretty much a medium hard or a hard medium. Today the default was a soft medium. That leads me to believe that the AI are also doing that. So even though the tyre wear is big, I don't want to risk the pace of being on harder compound tyres if the AI are just going to go soft. And that's why I think we're going to do soft medium. Get the advantage at the start, cut through some of the top 10, and get an early pit stop, undercut, and go from there. But all the lights are on. Now they're out as we go racing for the feature race, essentially, around QATAR. A horrible start for Carlos Sainz, and everybody's on mediums, which is very surprising to me, as we're going to do the same thing we did yesterday and go around the outside at turn 1. We take the Aston Martin, and we're going to have a dirty look down the inside of Lewis Hamilton. Yes, but it was too late, and Hamilton came across, almost spinning us out, and we've lost heaps of time. But, crucially, no damage. It was an absolute dive bomb, to say the least. We did not deserve any space, so fair play to Hamilton on that one. But, yeah, that could have been a lot worse than it was. I should have remembered the whole, you know, you don't win the race in the first corner. To win the race, you've got to finish first, you know. Or first, you've got to finish. All the same. I sound like Will Buxton right now. But, we move. End of lap 1 now. We still are on the back of Lewis Hamilton. We were able to catch up thanks to the Constantina effect, basically, of just everybody having to brake a little bit earlier than normal, so they don't run into the back of other cars. DRS is available. Do we need it? I don't think so. We're going to go to the outside of the Mercedes there, keep it really tight to the apex so that he does not have a choice other than to give us the position. And now we chase down Sergio Perez in P6. And you can just see the amount of grip that we have over the medium tyres. It's next level. We're not struggling to hold on to the back of them like we were in the sprint race yesterday. Again, because we have that extra pace. We have the tyre advantage, and the fastest lap shows that. Again, Sergio Perez, he's harvesting energy. We're going to send it down the inside. What an absolute dive bomb. But Perez switches it back on the exit of turn 1. Now we're side by side through turn 2. Again, not much room here, but we're going to give him the space and try and cut him off just on the run down to this double right-hander, which is a nice little move, to say the least. Perez fought that well, but he just didn't have the grip of the softs to help him in that situation. Again, we're expecting Russell. He's harvesting again. Is he going to go defensive? He does. We're going to go even more aggressive than he is and go down the inside this time. Really try as we go. Very squirrely on exit. Caught me out there. But yeah, we just had to be aggressive with that move. He tried to do the same thing as Perez, but he did not manage it. But now we've lost DRS to Russell, probably thanks to that snap of oversteer in the last lap. We've got Russell to the inside, Perez to the outside. We're going to go down the middle and really try, see if we can make it somehow. Probably due to the soft tyres alone, we make that move. We go a little bit deep, a little bit wide on exit there, but somehow we just managed to keep it in one piece, and somehow it wasn't an airplane crash. But again, we don't have the DRS anymore. We're losing all of our grip, and we go massively deep on exit there. You can see we're starting to struggle with the tyres. I think we're going to box, maybe not the end of this lap, but maybe the end of next lap, just purely because we're losing our tyres at this point. You can just tell we've dropped 2.5 seconds behind Norris, and we've got Perez going for the attack. We are not going to fight this. We're just going to tuck in behind. Just see what the difference is in grip now, and look at that, the medium just jumping off that corner, whereas we're more like a sloth as we lose the back end again. The tyres are really going now. We're going to have to box very soon to make sure we don't lose too much time. We've lost another second to Norris and a second to Perez in Sector 1 alone on this lap. So our tyres really have hit the cliff, and now we're just going to try and keep it on the track, keep Russell behind, but ultimately it's time to hit the pit lane, get on a fresh set of boots, and see what we can do in the back half of this race. It's a relatively long pit lane here, I want to say. We're hopefully going to have the guys do a good job here for us. Did look pretty good actually. 2.4. Decent pit stop. Happy with that, as Mark was also saying. But now we are almost dead last. There's a few other people in the pit behind us. But look at the gap we have to our teammate ahead. 10 seconds we were not that far. We were not like close to him really in the pit stop phase, but he was still ahead, and that's a purple sector 3, which this is our first full lap with these tyres, and now we're going to see if we can sneak a fastest lap while we are warming up the tyres and getting back into this race. We've got hot lap mode on, I believe, so we should be pretty good for battery deployment and not be harvesting in sector 3 and things like that, to just give us a bit of an edge over our rivals. Pretty clean lap so far, personal best sector 1. I imagine it's not a purple because we don't have DRS, but again, we can't be sure. We just got to keep pushing, do essentially a qualifying lap here to see if we can nab the fastest lap, and these tyres feel fantastic compared to the softs that we were on before. You can just see the extra pace we're carrying through corners like that compared to yesterday's sprint race and even yesterday's qualifying. We're just so much more confident in this car now that we've had a bit more practice, a few more laps under our belt on this circuit. Purple sector 2 is we're now rounding the penultimate corner, heading towards the last braking zone on the circuit. Tip it in nicely, keep it in 5th, try not to let the back end step out, but it did. And now we're just burning the battery up to the line. That's somehow a fastest lap, which is good for us. It seems that other people are in the pits. Their mediums can't do the same as us. I don't think they can take softs to the end here, but everybody's in the pit lane. There's a Ferrari, a McLaren, a Red Bull, and a Mercedes all up ahead. There's Verstappen, there's Hamilton. We pass Hamilton in the pit lane. Verstappen is just there ahead of us. Do we dare try and get it round the outside? No, we don't, but maybe we can do a dive bomb into turn 2. Yes, we can. Leave him a bit of space on exit, but he doesn't need it. He backed out. We've now got the tyre advantage yet again. When I said at the race strategy page, this leads me to believe the AI are going soft medium, and then they started the race on medium, I thought, I'm going to be on more worn medium tyres, and they're going to be on fresh softs at the end of this race. But I was wrong. We do have tyre upgrades on this car, and it seems as though those tyre upgrades might be handing us a shot at the win, because we're now in P3, lap 12 of 20, all the pit stops are done. We have Norris and Leclerc just ahead of us on the harder tyres. Now our tyres, they will die towards the end relative to the hards, as Norris and Leclerc going side by side into turn 1. Do we get involved? I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. Thought about a switch back there, thought about a cheeky dive bomb, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try and stick side by side with the person who comes out worse in this little battle as it's Leclerc, and we're going to just try and steamroll round the outside. Can we do it here? Can we get this position? We are still side by side. He backs out in the end, just on that apex. We gave him a little bit of a squeeze, and he didn't like the look of that. So now we've claimed P2, and Leclerc has lost 2 positions in the first half a lap of this lap. Not ideal for Leclerc, but I'm happy with the result. And now we've just got Norris, who doesn't have DRS to defend himself, but we have DRS to take that, first place position off him, essentially. Lap 13 of 20. Our tyres are still relatively fresh and still faster than theirs. He's going to go defensive. We're again going right to the inside, braking nice and relatively early, safely I would say, just to make sure we don't run out wide against him. And yeah, just keep the car on the track. Don't make contact. Been a really nice clean race here so far. And the tyres could be overheating a little bit on the left front, which is potentially why the left front tyre wear has been so high on all of my tyres across the weekend. Well, all across my sets of tyres. Not across all 4 tyres that are on the car at the moment. It's just the left front. The left side, essentially. The fast right-hander, which you can, again, just see a little glimpse of that. But Norris is coming to retake P1 from us. We've gone to the inside. Easy defense from us. Stop the switch back and into turn 2. Easy peasy. I almost said easy as pie or something. I don't know. Is that a thing? I mean, pie is really easy. You just buy it from the supermarket and just... I think we just took out the DRS board. But yeah, if you buy pie from the supermarket, really easy to cook for your dinner, right? But I have no idea what I was saying. Norris and Alonso going at it behind us. Again, things... You shouldn't just listen to these videos, by the way. There's been a few things I've said in this season so far that, you know, you really should know the context before you hear what I say. Like, you know, sniffing George Russell's rear end. Norris and Alonso going at it behind me. You know, let's just keep our heads, you know, switched on. Let's stay in this race and not get distracted by what I sound like and the things I say. Alright? Sweet. Lap 17 to 20, we go massively deep as the tyres, they're starting to go off a little bit. And Alonso reckons he's got a chance here. We have 70% battery though. And the inside line, which, again, give him a little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of disencouragement. But we do go a little bit deep there, and Alonso takes his chance and really claims that exit, actually. That was very, not aggressive, but just like convincing. He just went, nah, it's mine, and that was it. And now we've got Norris for company, and our tyres, especially our left tyres, front left, rear left, they are really wearing down very quickly. And we've got to be careful here because, again, the hards are going to start to come into their own, and we do not have the hards. Our tyres are going off, and their tyres are holding on. But again, a bit deep there. We're just trying to carry a bit too much speed as we lost the back end there, and I also lost my way with words. But now we've really got to challenge through this Sector 3 here just to get back into DRS range of Fernando Alonso. Leclerc and Norris have been battling out behind, and again we lose the back end just on exit there, but we did have the DRS already from the detection point. But Leclerc and Norris have obviously been fighting behind for P3 on the road, and that's given us some breathing space to just have a little ding-dong with Fernando Alonso. Again, the rear end stepping out. Whenever we load up the left side tyres a bit too much, they just give way. There's no grip there almost. It's completely one-sided. Whenever we go through a left-hander and all the weight is on the right-hand tyres, absolutely fine. The car is absolutely fine. Like here, no problem at all through that corner. But as soon as we get to anywhere where we're loading the left front and the left side of the car, like here, we just have to be really cautious, as now we're going to go onto the last lap of the race. We've got Fernando Alonso, we've got the DRS, we've got a little bit of battery. Alonso going defensive. We're going to go to the outside and swoop through turn 1 and take the lead. But now we can't afford any mistakes on this lap. We've got to park the bus, and we've got to make it a big bus because this is a big track. So far, so good. But again, Alonso could just decide to swoop through on any corner. We're watching the peripheral arrow in the bottom that is white at the moment. We're just watching that like a hawk. We need to know where Alonso is at all times. And you can just see through these corners, we're tiptoeing. We're on the final lap. We're in the lead. What can we do? Can we hold on to it? We've only got a sector and a half to find out. And it's the fastest sector with all of the right turns. And it's gonna be a tough one here. Because I think even now we have to lift off to make it through this section without going off the track. You can see how close Fernando is. He's a tenth and a half behind, almost a tenth behind, as we're now going to go to the final corner. Fernando's going to have DRS to the line, but it's not very far for us to run to get the win, as we keep Fernando Alonso behind us for 20 laps and claim first place in Qatar.
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
Thank you, Mark. I accept your applause. And yeah, tough race. nice end.
And under the desert night sky, they win the Qatar Grand Prix. And what a performance it was.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
Well, what a thrilling end to an incredible Grand Prix weekend. Our top 3 finishers should be incredibly happy with what they were able to achieve out there today.
Yeah, definitely happy. All of our tyre wear upgrades coming in clutch there for this race. And speaking of coming in clutch, if you guys want to be the clutcher, you can subscribe. Just so you don't miss out on any future episodes, any future races. We've got the last race of the season coming up next week, so you definitely don't want to miss that. And then we're going to do some challenges before we start another season of My Team Career Mode. So stay tuned.
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
I can't wait either, but we're going to have to. Just because I can do one video a week, and that's pretty much my max right now. But there we go. Race victory, 3 points in the sprint race. Really not bad. Obviously you can just see from all of this that overall we've done a decent weekend. This is the race results, those are the sprint results, this is the weekend results. I'm deciding which ones I want to show you. So there you go. Ourselves P1, Fernando Alonso P2, then Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen, Russell, Perez, Sainz, Hamilton, Stroll, Piastri, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Albon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Hülkenberg, Zhou Guanyu, Teo Pourchaire, Logan Sargent, and Valtteri Bottas. We'll give Logan the wooden spoon anyway, he deserves it. Bottas DNF'd, so that's on him. Again, we know from the last race, Verstappen's got the title already. That video successfully predicted the outcome of the real life 2024 season. And we're, again, making some good moves in the drivers' standings. As for the constructors, we're just going to sit where we are. I don't see us moving forward anymore or dropping down at all. There's just not enough points left in the season to make that kind of a difference. But here we go. Highlights for you now. And, yeah, if you enjoyed the video, guys, drop a like. If you want to see more of my videos as we move forward, you know what to do. It's YouTube, you all know. Just subscribe. Best way to stay up to date. If not, I will be plaguing your homepage and your recommended videos forever. There's no escaping me. Much like there was no way I was going to let that win escape me. There we go. An exciting video. A bit of a longer one, but I hope worth it. You can let me know in the comments. And also, I had a quick check of the driver market, and we can afford almost anybody to be in our number 2 seat. We've been saving money like there's no tomorrow. Whether or not we can get everyone I want is another thing. I'm thinking about saving either Carlos Sainz or Daniel Ricciardo. I say saving them because in the real life season, look at that move on Russell. In the real life season, obviously Ricciardo's no longer in F1, so I feel like I want to keep him here. I'm not going to let him leave, basically. And then in Carlos Sainz's case, I feel like he deserves a seat. No offense to Williams, but I feel like he deserves his Ferrari seat. I think he's going to do amazing at Williams, but yeah, I want to give him a shot at a title. Williams hopefully will be able to get up there and help him do that in the real life F1, but that is yet to be seen. But that's it from me today. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you're new, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you all next week for the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi.